Petrucci with RT Book Reviews. I'm here with Kate Douglas at RWA National in New York City. We're in the midst of Times Square on a hot summer day.
I'm not going outside.
No, we're staying in here in the air conditioning. And we just want to talk to Kate. First off, we hear that you're starting to write a new anthology. You're participating in an anthology called Night Shift.
I am. It's to start off a new series. I've got a new Aphrodisia series with Kensington, and that's going to be called Dreamcatchers. And the first book in the Night Shift series anthology is Dreamcatcher, and it's fun because it actually is set in 1992, and it takes place around the Stanford campus, and it's a young man who's a brilliant computer science expert at the dawn of computers. You know, when they were becoming, computers used to fill entire rooms, and this was at a point where they were actually becoming personalized enough that people had their own computers. And he makes contact with what he first thinks is a fantasy woman and finds out she's an alien, a creature of energy who takes her physical form from sexual fantasy. So it leaves me wide open.
And so you're leaving shapeshifters behind?
Yeah, kind of.
Ish?
Well, for now.
Is she an alien shapeshifter?
Well, she is pure energy, and so she will become a woman, but she is also actually from the present. And she's gone back to this character. She's gone back to this character because she knows that he's the only one with the intelligence and the ability to rescue an entire race of people who are being held prisoner. And he has 20 years to develop the technology that will save her people in 2012.
This is a new trend. Terminator.
I've never seen Terminator.
Terminator is, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, okay.
He comes to the present to tell Edward Furlong, before he got weird, that he needs to save the human race later.
Okay.
And I have been seeing it pop up in romance novels.
Really?
There's an urban fantasy one from Source Books where she goes to Regency.
See, this is where I'm out of the loop because I don't watch television and I don't go to movies. So I could be copying something, but it's not because I know it.
I feel like these things get into the stream of consciousness.
Maybe that's it. Yeah. Either that or my subconscious watches TV and movies.
Maybe at night when you're sleeping.
You never know.
So I have a fun factoid for you about your Sexy Beast novels.
Yes.
The cover model, his name, do you know who he is?
Which one?
The one on the later ones, like 7 and 8.
Claude Claude,
yes.
which is first. I always get it confused. He's wonderful.
Andre Claude.
We email each other. He's wonderful.
He is a former Mr. Romance.
Right.
He often stays in the RT offices when he comes
Does
to
he
New
really?
York. Yes. He eats a giant steak for lunch. He basically only eats red meat. He used to fry up a red steak in the middle of the RT offices. So when your books come in, we display them all over the place.
Oh, I love that.
To see Andre.
Well, and he's starting a film career.
He is.
Yes, and if you go on Facebook, you can find a link to his video. Yeah, what I love about Andre is that I would get my, I get my author copies, and I would get my copies of Sexy Beast, and I contacted him one time and said, "Do you want any of these? Because you can give them to your friends, And he was, I think at the time, he was somewhere in Europe, and
He's from Malta.
Malta, that's where he was, and I mailed them to Malta. I think it cost me like $60 to mail him a box of books, but he passed them out, and I actually have heard from readers who discovered my stories through his books, and they only read me because they're so in love with the cover model.
Well, he's a very nice guy too.
He's very nice online. I've never met him in person, but he's a doll
I'll let
online.
you know the next time he comes to New York to stay with us, to bunk with us.
Oh, I love that. That's so funny. Life is tough.
Yes.
We actually, another one of my cover models is from New York, Tony Catanzaro, I'm not sure exactly the last name. He's a fitness expert, and he's done, I think he was Sexy Beast 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, okay.
And I did the same with him. I sent him books, and so his fans read my stories only because they want to drool over the guy on the cover. And I'm wondering why I have never once been invited to a photo shoot. And I think this is just blatantly unfair.
I think that we should put this on the web right now.
Yeah.
Tell people
that the authors don't get to go, and somebody needs to arrange those cover models in the right position. It just seems like
KateDouglas.com.
Yes.
Go to her website, invite her to a cover shoot.
Yeah, I would like to do this. That sounds like a good job.
Recently you have forayed into self-publishing, which is a
I have.
new big thing in publishing right
It
now.
is.
Tell me about Demon Lovers.
Well, I have to tell you why I'm doing what I'm doing first. I started out as an ebook author. That's where I was first published with ebooks in 1998. Now, nobody, including me, knew what an ebook was in 1998, but there were already publishing houses that were selling, electronic digital copies of books. And so I feel like I've gone full circle because I went in, and please excuse my voice because I was at the literacy signing last night with 500 of my closest friend authors, and there were about 4,000 or 5,000 readers in a room meant for probably a third that size, and we had to literally scream over the crowds just to make ourselves heard, and I have no voice.
The demand is that high for you guys?
Well, not for me necessarily, but it was really fun, and I do love it. I love seeing readers at these things, but we can't really converse because we can't talk here. But anyway, as far as coming full circle, I love to write short. I can sit down and write a story that's 12, 13, 14,000 words long, and I can do it in a weekend. That's how Wolf Tales started. Wolf Tales started as an online serial. Every couple of weeks, I had a new story come out. And when Kensington bought it, they bought the first 5 stories that had been online and threw them together, and that was the first book. Wolf Tales 1, the purple one, the one that came out originally with a woman's nipple showing on the cover, and the bookstores wouldn't put it on the shelves, so they had to go back and slide her over on the cover.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was really, this was brand new. It was the first erotic to come out, and it was the very first out of New York. Was with Kensington. I think they beat Avon Red, which was the other one that came out at the time.
I think Aphrodisia was first.
And Aphrodisia was first, and Wolf Tales was first, and it was all new. It was, it was very exciting to be I was a pioneer, and the book Wolf Tales had launched Changeling Press when it started. It was a brand new little EPUB, and that had launched Changeling Press, and then it also launched Aphrodisia. So it's been a very, very busy series. But going back to, I wanted to write short, and publishers don't want to buy short. There's not a print market for that.
Right.
And I talked to my agent, and I said, why can't I do self-pub? I wasn't sure. We all have options clauses that limit, length and stories and things that we can write outside of our publishing contract. And I knew I was safe if I stayed short, which I wanted to do. I said, I've got an idea for a serial. I don't want to do a long story. I want to do a short piece serial. And I had written this story about a young woman who loses her job and gets attacked by a strange woman in the park, and wakes up and she's all of a sudden got everything she needs to be a demon hunter. And she works with 2 men who were demons, who've been turned into demon hunters, and she is their fulcrum. She keeps them from killing each other. They have, as one of them says, demons don't play well with one another, and she is the one that keeps them together enough that they can go out and hunt demons. And of course, it's erotic, and so it's all done sexually. It's a menage story. And I wrote one, and my agent is handling putting it out for me, which a lot of agents are doing now, because authors have discovered that because Kindles and Nooks and all the different types of e-readers are becoming so popular, our sales are going up in ebooks as they're dropping in print.
Right.
And a lot of authors who have the rights to their backlists are self-publishing and putting them out and doing very well. These are books that might not garner enough sales in print to make it worthwhile for the publisher to reissue them, but as ebooks and putting them up inexpensively, you can get someone interested in your writing, or possibly it's a precursor to a series you're doing now. It becomes its own form of advertising. So my series, I'm doing a little different in that I'm publishing a brand new serial, but I put very lengthy excerpts of my new books in the back, and that opens up,
smart,
for readers to discover my stories. A lot of people are afraid of me. They're afraid of the erotic. I'm very threatening. Yes, I tell them. They're afraid. They've heard that Wolf Tales is so over the top, that it's so erotic, it's so sexy, which it is. It's very over the top.
Well, it's erotica.
It is, and my
there's a naked guy on the cover.
More than that. And my personal philosophy is that if they tell me there's a boundary and I can't do that, I jump over it and I make it, beyond that.
Wait, like what are some boundaries?
Well, when I first started writing this, you could not have a same-sex relationship in a romance. That was not done. And look how far we've come. And I really like writing different dynamics, different types of relationships. And it was really interesting because one time I had a very nice young gay man ask me, how do you do it? You know, I'm a heterosexual grandmother. You know, I've been married to the same man for almost 40 years. And I think it's my own personal philosophy, and it comes down to the fact that, you know, love is love and the rest is friction. It doesn't matter who the protagonists are. If you love the person, you know, and it gets down to the technical parts, the aspects of, you know, sex. It's you know, tab A into slot B, C, D, E, F. You know?
And
Because
so
you get
on.
into groups. The point being that the most important thing is love, and within my stories, I also add the fact that there has to be honor in a relationship, there has to be integrity in a relationship. And I think what really sells my books is that sense of family and love and community. And you know, they are very erotic, and there are things I won't touch. I don't do anything that has to do with small children. I don't get into any of the really super over-the-top kink, you know, which some authors can do and get away with. I probably couldn't, because I'm not comfortable with that.
Right.
But I am comfortable with any type of a dynamic, as far as the types of people who are falling in love, or the numbers of people. And when I started, I actually have a friend who was in a marriage, and it definitely was a marriage with 2 men for 20 years. And I would send her, you know, my scene, and I'd say, would this work? And I remember getting a note back saying, well, yeah, it'll work, but it hurts like hell. I thought, well, that's probably not going to go in the story then. But I think you have to learn to work with, you know, you need to research, you need to make sure that what you're writing is acceptable. But yeah, there were so many boundaries. We were told years ago we couldn't put sex in books. I mean, it always closed at the bedroom door. And I think it was Kathleen Woodworth that actually said, you know, no, the door doesn't shut and the world doesn't end.
Yeah.
You know, so it's changing. The whole publishing industry is changing, and it's changing so quickly that I think even the publishers are scrambling.
Yeah.
And that's where you come to the self-publishing, because there are a lot of authors writing stories that they know will find a market and no publishers will touch them. And so they're self-publishing and they're finding that market. It's out there. So it's giving authors an entirely new option.